We saw projective measurements in the last video, which we described to be simpler measurements. These were bunch of projectors such that summation pi was equal to identity. We noticed that this implies they are actually orthogonal. Such a projective measurement on a state psi will give result pi psi by norm of pi psi whole square. This was just to make it a unit vector. This state will be outputted. The output will be I. Again, the label is not very important. And this will happen with probability this much. This is the probability of the outcome. This is what we learned last time. We noticed that this factor was used so that our state becomes a unit vector. You will notice that this condition implies that summation probability of outputting I, this will turn out to be 1. We also notice that this projective measurement can be succinctly represented by a Hermitian H whose spectral decomposition looks like, let's say, IPI or some other label, MIPI. But intrinsically, it means that our projective operators are P1 to Pk such that whenever ith projector is in action, that means we output Mi. We also mentioned last time that this is a special case of measurement. The third postulate describes the most general case of measurement. Let me write it. A state psi can be measured with operators, or I should say measurement operators M1 to Mk. These are analogous to P1 to Pk. These operators, these measurement operators should satisfy an analogous condition to summation pi equal to 1. In this case, it will be Mi star Mi equal to 1. This you can think of as analogous to summation pi. These are general measurements. When this happens, we obtain ith output. Again, don't go into worrying about why is it called I or Mi or something. That's just a label that we are getting the ith output. The obtain ith with probability. So this probability is going to be and our state after measurement is going to be Mi psi divided by square root of pi. Again, this is normalization. Let me repeat it for your benefit. That was the formal statement. What you have to remember is that if I have measurement operators M1 and Mk, they should satisfy this condition, and then I get the state this with probability which is equal to psi Mi star Mi psi. You can convince yourself that projective measurements are just a special case. What it means is that you want to figure out what are the measurement operators in case of projective measurement. And you will see that this definition will actually agree if you hit upon the right measurement operator. It's not a difficult question. Though we now know that there can be measurements which are not projective. Because we only have condition that summation mi star mi equal to identity. That does not say that mi are positive semi-definite or projectors. Though when they are projectors, these equations simplify, and those are the cases we will be interested in most of the time. You also notice that mi's are not unitary. Remember, we divided by this number to get a state. That means mi psi is not preserving psi's length. That's why it is not a unitary most of the time. It is a different beast. Do not confuse it with operations or things which we define using second postulate. These are not same as measurement. Operations move from one quantum state to another. In case of measurement, we get the final output. Another thing which makes projective measurements very nice is this theorem which says that if we are allowed access to ancilla qubits, you should remember what ancilla meant. These are extra qubits as workspace. In quantum computing, we have to be careful. These need not be entangled in the end. But we have access to ancilla qubits. If we have access to them, then any general measurement can be simulated with the projective measurement. That is why in most of the cases we can assume that we are only using projective measurements. Even the proof of this fact is given in the notes. It is given as an extra reading. If you are interested, please go ahead and read about it. To succinctly say what we have covered till now in terms of measurement, we noticed that we have seen some measurements. They look like things called projective measurements, which are the simple kind of measurements we'll be seeing all the time. Today, we defined general measurements. These are all kind of measurements which are possible in the quantum computing world. Mostly we will deal with projective measurements, and that we have seen enough number of times. You should also make sure that you understand why projective measurements are a special case of general measurements. There should be arrow only one way. This should be clear to you. Once we have covered this, I will also tell you one more simplification used many a times for general measurement. And this simplification is called POVMs. The full form is positive operator valued measure. Let's not worry about the name. I've just given it for the sake of completeness. Let's see what they are. I will once again remind you of the definition of general measurement. It was given by a bunch of measurement operators such that summation mi star mi is equal to identity. We also knew that the probability of obtaining an output was this. There is a reason why I write it in the psi mi star mi psi framework. This is the probability, and the output state is going to be mi psi divided by the square root of the probability to normalize this. If you look at the statistics, you will realize that individual operator mi is only used in the description of output state. That means if we don't care about the output space, if we don't care about the output state, then mi star mi is good enough for us, is good enough for the entire description. There is a good reason why we might not care about the output state. If you remember, we mentioned something before that in quantum computing, all the measurements can be pushed to the end without losing anything. So if you do any quantum computing operation, you can assume that wherever you have measured and used classical control, you can just convert them into quantum controls and push the measurements in the end. The proof of this is given in Nielsen and Chuang, but that means that most of the time we don't have to worry about what is the output state. We just measure it, and that measurement statistics is going to be used in our algorithm. In these cases, when we don't care about the output state, mi star mi is good enough. And these are called the POVM operators. In this case, a POVM measurement will be described by a bunch of POVM operators. What do we know? EI has to be positive semi-definite and summation EI equal to 1. In this case, the probability of the output is psi EI psi. Probability of obtaining outcome I. You will notice that in all the three definitions, we talked about projective measurement, we talked about general measurement, talked about POVMs. POVMs are the only space or only set of measurements where output state is not mentioned. Otherwise, we always say that after the measurement, we will get this state with this much probability. But in POVM, we are not interested in the output space. Hence, we can simplify our description of the operators. We only talk about a bunch of positive semi-definite operators such that summation EI is equal to 1. And in this case, the probability of obtaining outcome I is just psi EI psi. That makes our life easier. After all this discussion, let me just mention another small thing about quantum. Let us take the state psi and the state EI theta psi. You can easily prove that whatever measurements we took, even in the case of general measurement, nothing will change, or no statistics. The probability of obtaining something will change even if the state psi is replaced by EI theta psi. And even the output state will only be changed by the same factor e to the power I theta. What that means is, by quantum computing, there is no way to distinguish between these states. This is something which you should remember. These two states are identical for computation purposes. We can't differentiate between them. The reason being, you can check whatever measurement you apply, they will always give you the same statistics, same probabilities for any set of measurements. This is called a global phase. In other words, if you take the states plus, remember, this is the state plus, and the state where has a global phase of -1, which would be -0 -1 by √2. These two states are identical. Do not confuse it with what we call a local phase. That makes a tremendous difference. This is 0 plus 1 by √2, sometimes also called the relative phase. So if you look at between 0 and 1, there is no phase, but if you look at state minus, this is 0 minus 1 by √2. So there is a relative phase of -1. This matters. These two states are not identical. With this information and property of quantum computing, we will end.